Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our second webinar of the streaming project Belgium National Inspiration Hub. We are still letting people in, but as a little introduction, this is going to be a recorded webinar. So whoever that doesn't want to have their camera shown or don't want to have anything shown, you can have your camera off. That is very okay. And everything is going to be uploaded and shown in our social media and our website. The streaming project also have a virtual makerspace, which is a common space where we have resources, where we have a forum for all the consortium of the project, and there you will be able to see the recording of this webinar at the same time as the other webinars that are happening in other countries. So let's begin. So as I said, this is a webinar that is hosted within the framework of the STREAMIT project. STREAMIT is a Horizon Europe initiative that aims to initiate change about the persistent gender inequalities in STEM, education, research, and innovation to contribute to the implementation of the European Manifesto for Gender Inclusive STEM Education and Careers, which is going to be one of the main outputs of this project. This is a very wide consortium that is working across all Europe, and to focus the work that we do as well in a national level, we have the National Inspiration Hubs. In Belgium, we have leveraged the international community that there is in Brussels and the international view that we have as well as 𝗲𝗲 Brussels, which is the organization that is hosting this webinar, to create this community of stakeholders in this National Inspiration Hub, to have a platform where both the Belgian and European voices are heard. And this National Inspiration Hub is a multi-stakeholder online networking space to address the persistent gender disparities in STEM educations and careers. And what we want to do with this platform is to allow you to participate in webinars and have a more active role in these webinars as guest speakers, for example, exchange resources and knowledges with members of via posts and discussions, create this community of like-minded organizations that are working in the same kind of background or domains in order to have these networking opportunities, promote events, and promote materials that you think it's of the interest of other organizations that are like-minded, and learn about activities of these organizations. My name is Cristina Martin. I'm coming from 𝗲𝗲 Brussels, and it is a pleasure to host this webinar and to be representing the streaming consortium in this webinar. So we have as speakers the European Mentoring Network at EUMENTNET. We have Ekaterina Masekina as the head of mentoring programs for women in sciences at the Heinrich Heine University in Dusseldorf, and also the head of the chair of this network, and Dr. Ines Chrysostomou as the Gender Equality Office at the University of Luxembourg, researcher and project manager. And if I may, I would like to introduce you to Ekaterina and to give her the word so that she can speak a little bit more about EUMENTNET.
Thank you so much, Cristina. We are really happy to be here today and to present our network, our professional network of mentoring coordinators. So we have today a special meeting for expert in the field of mentoring, also mentees and mentors. We are those people who are coordinating the mentoring programs. So we are a network of mentoring coordinators. We are mainly busy in the different European universities and research institutes and organizing special female programs to support women in science. EUMENTNET exists since 2007. At first, it was funded by the EU Commission, and right now we are a professional network of experts in mentoring and gender equality. Could you please go on with the slides? Thanks. So we have several objectives, and for sure our main objective is to foster the exchange of experience and best practices. So it allows us to know what is going on in different regions of Europe and above, and to implement the best practices in our own mentoring programs locally. And for sure, we would like to promote the gender equality standards all over Europe, and that is why this platform of EUMENTNET is so important for transfer of our expertise and for transfer of the knowledge. Let's go on.
Yes.
So at the moment, we have members from 11 countries. I'm sorry, on our map, we still have the old one. We have not yet updated it. So we have very active members from Austria, Belgium, Czech Republic, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Luxembourg, Romania, Sweden, and Switzerland. You can find also publications, our own publications of EUMENTNET on our website, and they are free to download. And so it's our last slide, because we would like to save the time for the discussion. That is why we are so short in the presentation. So what we offer in our network is mainly mutual support in implementing and improving gender equality and also mentoring programs. So we have members who are already managing their mentoring programs since the end of the 90s, so almost 30 years, and we also have members who are just implementing mentoring programs. So our platform is really good for this transfer of knowledge, how to implement, how to organize a mentoring program, and we can support you with contacts. And so we are a very vivid, living network, and we are always open and support exchange from peer to peer, and we support the assistant and consultancy. Every year we offer a regular conference. Each of our members organizes a conference. For example, last year it was in Dusseldorf in Germany. Year before it was in Romania, on the Black Sea. And this year, 2026, we would like to invite all people who are interested in mentoring and gender equality to Luxembourg. So we will show. Okay, thank you, Christine, for showing this slide. Exactly, please save the date from 11th to 12th June, University of Luxembourg. My colleague Ines Kristomer is here. She's the main organizer of this event. So if we have not started the registration yet, but at the beginning of the March, we will present the program and the registration. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I just shared the link also in the chat.
Thank you, Ines. Yeah.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much, Katerina, for this presentation of the network. And I would like to welcome now our next speaker, Anita Bekov.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having me. My name is Anita, and I recently graduated from the University of Stuttgart in Germany, where I studied computer science. And I'm now working as a researcher in the field of AI safety at the Alice Institute. And during my time at the university, I also founded an initiative called WomenInSTEM to connect, empower, and support female students. And so, since our today's webinar is about the role of mentoring programs, about why mentoring is so important to me personally. So mentoring has played a crucial role at every stage university, which is called 𝗫𝗏, which was designed to help students learn more about university life and different fields of study. And my self-doubts, and that really made a difference for me. And then later on, I actually became a mentor myself in that program. And the mentees told me that I inspired her and that she aspired to become like me. And that was when I really realized what an impact took part as a mentee in programs offered by companies such as IBM. And these programs also helped me to gain insights into possible. They connected me with role models as well as like-minded students. And also they gave me the space to ask all kinds of questions, which I really. And most importantly, they also helped me to reduce my worries, and they made me feel less alone as a woman in STEM. And so at the moment, I'm a mentor in SelmaMeyerMentoring, which is Germany's largest online mentoring platform for schoolgirls interested in STEM. And so every week, to talk about computer science and all her questions. And so yes, in general, for me personally, mentoring programs have been a constant support and also a way to give that encouragement back to the next generation of women in STEM. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anita, for your insights and your very good words about the mentoring. That we are going to delve on those thoughts a little bit in just a minute, and delve a little bit more in your personal experience that you have very nicely summed up. And our last organization represented in this webinar and our following speakers are coming from 𝗵𝗧𝗘, the Belgian Women in Science and Engineering Organization, and I'm very happy to introduce you to Annelies van Dijk and 𝗬𝗏𝗏. Annelies?
Yes, hello everyone. So my name is indeed Annelies. Together with my colleague 𝗬𝗏𝗏, we present 𝗵𝗧𝗘, the Belgian Women in Science. You can go to the next slide, please. So 𝗵𝗧𝗘 is actually an organization that wants to support and strengthen the position of women in science and technology, not just in research, but also people working in industry, policy, in education, and so on. And we really try to build a stronger community of women in science, or people that support women in science, and create a place where people can meet, can share experiences, support each other. And we try to contribute actually in different ways and on different stages of the pipeline, let's say. So today we will talk a bit more about the mentoring program, where we really focus on researchers at the end of their PhD or early postdoc. But we also focus with other activities on younger audiences, for example, on secondary schools, just at the age that people need to choose a new study. We try to help them consider STEM education. At the other end of the spectrum, we also focus on broader audiences by taking part in public activities such as the European Researchers' Nights. And of course, we also have our own activities, Lunch and Learn online sessions, network events for women all through the entire career platform. But we also want to state, of course, that although our focus is on women in science, 𝗵𝗧𝗘 is definitely not the exclusive quartet. We welcome men and every other gender also to support actually a more diverse culture. And then now my colleague 𝗬𝗏𝗏 will tell a bit more about the mentoring program.
Yes, thank you, Annelies. I'm 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏. I'm today here as 𝗵𝗧𝗘's board member. I explain about 𝗵𝗧𝗘's mentoring program. It's interesting to know that at the beginning, mentoring was the main activity of 𝗵𝗧𝗘. Now Annelies told us that it's actually broader, but at the beginning it was the main activity. And our goal is supporting scientists, often at the latest stage of their PhD and also at the beginning of the postdoc to fight against the leaky pipeline and how to explore career paths. Our mentoring program, it's actually open to all scientific institutions. It's not specifically for one institution, and all regions and language communities in Belgium. We start with opening the call and a kickoff workshop for mentees actually, and to define their goal and expectations. And what is also interesting to know is that mentor-mentee matching is across different scientific fields. So we don't match them with the same, we actually try not to match them with the same scientific fields. And it's a 1 year personalized and one-to-one support program. They can exchange regularly by phone, email, and face-to-face meetings. We actually advise them to have, if it's possible, face-to-face meetings. They can also join our events. At 𝗵𝘂𝗧, we have different events, including lunch and learn events, which the topic is very interesting for them, which is expanding their scientific network, and also something like work-life balance, how to go abroad, and how to write good publication, these kind of events they can join. And in this way, they can have the support from the broader community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, 𝗂𝗓𝗄, to introduce us to 𝗵𝘂𝗧 and everything that you do. Thank you, everyone for introducing yourselves and for joining this webinar. As I said, for the newcomers, this is the second webinar, the 𝗂𝗲_STEM series, webinar series hosted to have informal sessions and conversations about gender responsive measures to ensure inclusion and equality in STEM careers. And throughout the work that we have done in the rest of the duration of the 𝗕𝗏𝗂 project, we have come across with mentoring programs as one of the crucial measures that are implemented in different countries and within Belgium and Europe to ensure the advancement of gender equality in STEM. And wanted to start this webinar with 𝗂𝗓𝗄. We can start with you and go backwards with the rest of the speakers and ask the crucial questions about in this webinar. Why mentorship programs? Why are they important? How are they a tool to promote STEM and STEAM careers among the girls and women?
Yeah, indeed. Mentorship program, it's actually all about sharing experiences, know-how, and advice, personal and professional developments. And at 𝗵𝘂𝗧, our focus is on scientists at last stage of their PhD or beginning of postdoc. So, which is then the critical time to find the career path, which is then mentoring program is something which is very helpful. And also it's about increasing the career satisfaction, for example, like impact of work, learning soft skills and attitudes, habits, and so on. And more than this, it's about gaining confidence by learning from mentors, because mentor actually and mentors they have overcome these challenges before, so it can be very useful for them. And it's also about how to set priorities in a professional environment.
Thank you, 𝗂𝗓𝗄. Can I ask the same question to Annelies? What's your take on this?
Yes, I can only agree, of course, to everything that 𝗂𝗓𝗄 said. And to specifically say about the promotion in STEAM for girls and women, we think it's clear that seeing a good role example will help you or can give you a good example on how it can go. And that's also what we want to do with our other projects. For example, the girls project, there we really focus on girls in the 5th and 6th year of high school. And it's a contest where they are combined with other children from Belgium across the language barrier. And by sitting in this kind of setup and seeing, doing a hackathon together where they are coached by a researcher, that's also a way of mentoring, we believe, because you see a good example of a female researcher and you learn from experience from other students. So we also believe that that is a clear way in which we can promote STEM careers through mentorship, yes.
Thank you so much, Annelies. I wanted to throw also the same question because this is the crucial one to Anieta, and since she has also already addressed her personal intake on this topic. Anieta, if you may.
So I think from my perspective, mentoring programs are really a good tool to create connection because they bring with like-minded peers, for instance, like with the other mentees of a mentoring program, but also with role models who might already be a few especially in STEM, where women are still underrepresented, and there's a lack of visible representation of role models. And so I think this can or unsure whether they truly belong. And so I think with mentoring, we can counter these feelings. And there's a place for you here. There are other people who are studying similar things, who are doing similar research. They're role models you can talk to. And so I think these mentoring programs can support women and girls on an individual level, which I experienced in the different programs which I participated in. But then at the same time, I think they can also be a starting point for structural change, because inspire girls to, I don't know, pursue a career in science or in STEM, and then of girls and women in STEM. And so, yeah, I think they are a great tool to bring people to and to, yeah, build a network as well.
Thank you so much, Anieta. We're losing a little bit of your sound through the connection, but I think the main ideas were still expressed. But thank you very much for your input. If I can also throw the same questions to our representatives of the European Mentoring Network, Ines, can I hear from you?
Sure. Yes, thank you very much. So, I mean, for me, mentoring is really about you don't have to do it alone. So mentoring addresses usually the 3 C's: clarity, capability, and competence. So people who might not feel that they belong, or that they do not have what it takes, or that they feel they don't know what the role ahead is about. And it's all about learning. And as Anieta mentioned, it can be transformative not only for the people who undergo these mentoring tandems or partnerships or groups or whatever format they choose, but also for the institutions who promote it. And in gender equality, we have different examples of that. So mentoring, for me, is a learning conversation, is you're not alone and you can connect. And as we see here, there are many examples of programs with whom you can connect and you can do a difference. And maybe I stop here and I let you ask the questions. I don't know if Ekaterina, you want to add anything.
Yes, thank you, Ines. I would like to add one important detail. So I'm totally agree with all the colleagues who talked before. So mentoring is for sure a very important tool to empower the younger generation in science and to transfer the knowledge, to allow this transfer of knowledge, because very often a talent is not enough. Even if a young researcher is very talented, it is not, unfortunately, enough to go on and to build a successful career. That is why it is so important to see role models, to get a network, and to improve the soft skills. that's all what all the colleagues already mentioned. And we hope that mentoring is not only individual advancement. We hope that through mentoring, we can influence both mentees and mentors. And through this exchange, we can experience the structural change. So it's our big hope to change the institutions, to change the research culture in the institutions, to make the research culture more inclusive and more positive. And we hope to do that through mentoring. So 2 main goals. One is individual, to support their new generation of early careers researchers. And the second, a global goal, is to improve the institutions themselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for your contributions in this. So the rest of the webinar is going to follow a similar format that we have just had. So I'm going to ask some questions that we have been gathering for this webinar, for this session, to different speakers. And I would like to encourage the participants to leave their questions also in the chat. So by the end of the webinar, we can also have some participatory momentum over here, and I can share the questions from the chat with our speakers so that we can have these Q&A going on. So the next questions that I have is I wanted to ask about the research that might have been for mentoring programs and about the outcomes that might have been studied for these programs. So is there any research on the benefits of the mentoring programs? And if I can throw these questions to Anieta to start with.
So first of all, as I told you before, I'm part of the cyber mentoring program, which is a very big e-mentoring. They increased their activities related to STEM, and also their intentions to study a STEM in a program for 1 year. And then also participants were twice as likely to choose a STEM degree compared, which really shows that also at a younger age, it is important to already bring girls. I also came across another study which focused on women in engineering during the first 2 years of college, and their results also showed clear psychological benefits, such as a stronger sense of belonging, increased motivation. So this led to higher retention rates in engineering majors and also stronger career aspirations among the participants. And yes, and these effects in a follow-up study, they investigated it more, and they also showed that these. And so, mentoring can really make a difference for girls in high school as well. I agree.
Thank you very much, Anieta. You've talked about the researchers and research on the mentoring programs and the impact on younger age in the retention of women in careers, the feeling of belonging, which is something that we have come across also in some needs analysis that we have done within STREAMIT. And with these ideas, I wanted to ask the same question to Ines and Caterina, starting with Ines, about the research on the benefits of the mentoring programs.
Thank you. It's a very important question. At EUMENTNET, there's actually one of the publications that shows a big impact of the mentoring programs that is available on our website. But you also have studies across different fields. One of our big collaborators at EUMENTNET is Marijke van der Brink from the Netherlands. She has different research projects going on showing that the impacts of mentoring. And there's also research from organizational psychology, from medicine, from nursing, from engineering. So I think there's a lot of evidence out there. And we also heard it here today from the testimonials of people who have been mentees and who have been mentors. So I think there is ample evidence that mentoring works. And if we think about it, mentoring is just a structured form of networking. And we all know that networking works. I think everybody says that networking, you need networking, right? So the other thing that maybe I would add here is most of the mentoring programs that we are running from EUMENTNET, so from the programs that we know from our EUMENTNET partners, they're not just mentoring, they're not just a one-on-one. Often they are combinations of one-on-one mentoring with peer mentoring and with training. So they're really leadership development programs focused on women that bring mentoring also as a tool. Ekaterina, what would you add?
Thank you for mentioning our website. I spoke already about this briefly in the presentation, that we have several publications with different authors from all over Europe on mentoring research. I posted again in the chat the website of EUMENTNET with the publications, and also I posted the current research we worked on. The colleagues from Cost Action published just at the beginning of the year the article towards gender equality in research and academia, conceptualizing and practicing inclusive mentorship. So please have a look at these publications. And for sure, it is very important to do a research on mentoring regularly, because it's basic for our action. So we need also a theory on which our practical experience is built. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katarina, for answering so thoroughly. And as a follow-up questions, and I wanted to listen from Annelies this time, because I wanted to ask, since we have talked about the benefits of the research on the benefits, and wanted to ask about how we measure the impact of the mentorship programs.
Yeah, I think it's of course important to try and measure impact, but it's a challenge, especially in the long term. Our main goal is, of course, to inspire or to broaden the view of PhDs for career possibilities or for whatever they can pursue in the future. And that's not something you can measure just directly. We do use a BWise evaluation forums at the end of every mentoring trajectory, so for both mentors and mentees, and then we look at their overall satisfaction, how they influence the or how they perceive the influence of the program. Did they feel like they gained a step? Did they get new insights and so on? And also for the mentors, if they want to participate again, because I think it's also important to look at the impact on the mentors, whether they perceive it as beneficial and not just as another add-on on a long list of things they already have to do. So that's very important. And what we like to see also is that we sometimes, or we often see that our mentor-mentee matches, that they stay in contact even after the program ends. And that to us is actually an indication that it works really well and that they both value the connection that they started.
Thank you so much, Annelies, for answering. And Inés, I wanted to ask you the same thing about the impact of the mentoring programs.
We have a similar experience. So we use feedbacks and interviews to analyze the impact of our programs on the people, on the participants. Here, of course, we're judging more perceptions, but the perceptions are all very positive, and we see mentors coming always back to our program. I mean, maybe they will take a break of 1 year because something is happening, but we see that there is a big impact on the individual participants. What we are very interested in now, also through EUMENTNET, is to actually try to start a study that analyzes more this transformative effect of mentoring beyond the mentor and mentee, but also in institutions. This is more difficult to do because we don't have a control situation per se, but I do think if across different institutions we use similar tools, we could try to measure impact beyond the tandem. So are we changing the research culture, like Ekaterina mentioned before? Are we improving and removing structural barriers to women in our case? Because this is, of course, one of the things. And we also want to expand to students. So we will do a baseline study at the University of the gender perceptions across students. And there is, we had a pilot, actually, I don't know if Linda is in the audience. Luxembourg is a small country, so we have partnerships with different institutions in Luxembourg. And we did a pilot with students that was also very, very well received for mentoring in STEM careers. And we want to continue these programs. And whatever we do, we try to think of impact. So meaning we try to collect the data that we can then measure if it was not just nice, but that there was an impact beyond what we are doing. So I think this is something that is very important to us.
Thank you so much, Ines, for your answer. And connecting with this idea of the impact on the individual and how this helps tackling the barriers, I wanted to ask about the personal experience that you have had as a mentee and how you have lived this kind of impact. I'm going to first ask 𝗂𝗂 of this. How was your experience in mentoring programs and also as a mentee, and how has it been determined for your career?
Yes, thank you for the question. Yeah, I was one day a mentee. I learned a lot from the mentoring program on how to approach my career goals. And one important thing that I learned was something that Ines mentioned, networking. Networking matters. I didn't know that networking works that much before that program. More than that, what are the limitations in the past that I chose? What I can change, what I cannot change, and if I want to change, how I can do that. And also some remarks that I couldn't learn them without this program. For example, remarks about the job market and the path that I chose. Yeah, these are the things that I learned.
Thank you so much, 𝗂𝗂. And I wanted to ask the same thing to Anieta. You already have shared with us a little bit about your experience of being a mentee, but I wanted to give you the floor to expand on this experience and explain it to us how it has been for you.
Yeah, thank you. So I think one for me was visibility, because when I first started with my studies, I didn't really know any women in my immediate surroundings. And so through different mentoring programs, I met women who were already working in these areas or studying in these areas. They really served as positive, realistic role models for me. And I think that also made a difference because it helped me on a similar path. And I think another important aspect which I experienced was that I also these various programs. And what I found especially remarkable was that whenever I some event during such programs, the atmosphere was always very empowering, and it was always women studying similar things, and I'm not the only one here. And so I think this was also very beneficial.
I think thank you very much, Anieta, for your input on this. And I wanted to pick up the idea of empowering that you just mentioned, and think also about the mentee as an active person in these kind of programs. So I wanted to throw the question about what topics can a mentor cover with the mentee, and especially what should be the role of the mentee in these kind of programs? Like, should a mentee set the agenda, come with a more listening attitude to their mentor? These is the kind of questions that I wanted to ask, and I wanted to start with Ekaterina's views. So, Ekaterina?
Yeah, thanks. It's a very important practical question because we are all different, and according to our own goals, we have also different questions. That's true. And we should understand that a mentor is not a god. It's also a person. It's a normal human being. And depending on your goals, you can ask this person, and you should understand and realize that the answers will be very individual. Yeah. So you can't hope that you will you will get a wonderful magic recipe for your whole life. But nevertheless, at the University of Dusseldorf, where I'm working for the mentoring programs for females, we have gathered some most important questions, and I would like to put them in the chat. So you can see them here in the chat. Maybe it's better you can copy it for your own use or whatever. So we have published brochures for both groups, for mentees and for mentors, and there are most frequently raised questions by mentees about the academic career, about leaving the academia and to start a career in industry, about how to combine family and career, and about the career advancement, and. So you can definitely add 1,000 of your own questions to this. Because I thought it could be good to have at least a basic list of questions to give for mentees, because sometimes they don't have enough ideas. What can I ask my mentor? So we provide our mentees with these questions, and they are very, very welcome to find out their own questions for the mentor, really depending on their individual goals. Either they want to make a career in academia, or if they want to leave academia so really very, very individual. So it's just an example. Please don't judge these questions as a as a perfect list of questions. It's just the idea for the typical questions which a mentee can discuss with her mentor.
Thank you so much, Katerina. Ines, do you want to add up on that?
Yes, so I think the mentee needs to drive the conversation. I totally agree with Katerina that we can give them some pointers. We usually have an onboarding of the mentees. We also have onboarding for mentors, but the mentees is really to kind of do the self-assessment a bit before they engage with the mentors, and they should be the drivers because it should be about them and about what they want. And it could, if they don't take that role of the driver, they could end up having an interesting conversation, but not having their questions answered. Of course, that said, it's also up to the mentor, who's usually more experienced, to set a space where the mentee can ask all of the questions. It's like a tango, right? You need to guide each other, but the two have to enter the dance.
Exactly, and very well put with this metaphor. And Anita, I wanted to ask you the same thing about the topics and the role of the mentor, especially in the mentee, especially, and picking up on the Ekaterina's and Ines' ideas.
Yeah, I think I believe that the role of the mentee sometimes also depends on programs which are targeted at younger school students, for instance, like the program I'm currently a mentor in. Here, I think mentoring is so I think here it's important that the mentor takes on a more active role, like leading the mentee structured programs for university students or like early career professionals. I'm also part as a mentee, and I think here mentees are expected to take on a more active role. Like, for instance, I prepare questions, I set the topics which I want to discuss with my mentor, and I come with some specific goals in mind, so yeah, I think it can sometimes depend on what kind of program it is. And I think for the mentor, this person can also take on different roles depending on the program and depending on the stage of the mentor. Can either be a door opener, for instance, providing a mentee with resources, access to opportunities, access to networks, future, or the view of the mentee of how their future can look like. They can also be a role model, sharing personal experience, and also sharing advice, and they can also accompany the professional development, like career guidance and orientation. And I think mentors can also be like more emotional supporters, helping them to believe in their own potential and in their abilities whenever they have doubts. So yeah, I think they're also a mentor can take on.
Thank you so much, Anieta, for everything. Picking up as well on the idea of this role of the mentor that can have in these kind of mentorship programs, I wanted to also throw the question about who can be a mentor. Can a supervisor be a mentor, for example? Should it be more led to peer-peer mentoring? And I wanted to ask this question to Annelies. In your view, who can be a mentor?
Yeah, so as we said before, for us, anyone with more than 10 years of research experience can be a mentor. We had to make some sort of guidelines or statement on who can become a mentor, but we certainly do not just accept PIs or as a mentor. For example, a supervisor in a research context has more, in my opinion, more like a role in evaluating and in guiding, for sure, but it's often directly linked to the work environment and contracts, publications, and so on. And therefore, the career progression is often linked to a specific research institute. So it's quite limited, in our opinion. It makes it quite difficult to create an open space, a kind of safe space, actually. And that's also why we pair specifically between different scientific fields or disciplines. If someone is more interested in pursuing something outside of academia, for example, and then it's a bit like Anieta just said, that will also allow mentees to really discuss sensitive topics, doubts, long-term career things, and offer new perspectives. So I think that's very important. And related to the peer-peer, we believe that after a certain seniority, let's say, so you also have a different opinion on research, on whatever careers are possible for you. You possibly already tried different things yourself. We do think there's an added value of other mentees in mentoring programs. So that's why we also try to bring all of the mentees together at first in an introductory workshop. And we also see in the evaluation that I discussed before that they think this is very valuable because you can share experiences, you can share questions that you are, or topics that you are discussing with your mentor, as Ines also said. And we also see that they find each other on other events, so that's really nice to see. And actually for the future, we're also thinking about some way of also creating a moment that mentors can exchange, because for them it's also a bit of peer-peer evaluation can be interesting or beneficial, actually.
Thank you so much, Annelies. I wanted to ask the same question to Ines. You have already mentioned throughout this webinar the peer-peer mentoring that also happens in the European Mentoring Network, and I wanted to continue the conversation about who can be a mentor.
Well, anyone can be a mentor if they're willing to listen and to help someone and guide someone. So I think in theory, everybody can be a mentor. Now, Anieta and Annelies mentioned It depends on the program and what the focus of the program is. At the University of Luxembourg, for example, we have within the same program different strands for different audiences. So we have group mentoring for some people, we have peer mentoring, we have one-on-one mentoring. So it depends really. But everyone can be. And this is, for example, what I like about the European Mentoring and Coaching Council definition of mentoring is that they don't refer age, they don't refer experience. They bring mentoring as a learning partnership, as a structured conversation with the aim to learn something. Now, the learning something could be about a career, could be about becoming a mother, could be about engaging in a STEM field. It can be about so many different things. And for peer mentoring, which I have to say, personally, it's my favorite flavor of mentoring. So I have my own personal bias there. But you have different initiatives who show that this circle format can be extremely helpful. For example, you have the lean-in circles. I don't know if you've come across them. They started by Sheryl Sandberg in the US, and there's a whole website. This is not much more than peer mentoring format. So peers, if they listen, they can share experience just like a more experienced mentor. So I do want to encourage people. And we were having a discussion with EUMENTNET. I think it was one of the, I don't remember exactly when, where most people engage in the mentoring programs to get the one-on-one. But then at the end, because most programs also offer the peer mentoring aside to the one-on-one, at the end of the program, they have gained as much from the one-on-one as they have from the peer mentoring. Annalise mentioned the supervisor. I think a supervisor, being of a PhD student, a master's student, or a postdoc, can be a mentor, of course, but they have to put in that mentor hat, and they have to be able to take away the line manager hat to put the mentor hat. Some people can do it very well. For others, it's more challenging, but they have to be able to differentiate. And also, for mentoring to be effective, you need to have a trust and safe environment. Sometimes there are conflicts between, not even conflicts like disagreements, but if a PI is only focused on academic careers and then other people do not want an academic career, they don't want to talk about it to them. And I love this quote by Simon Sinek, where it says, like, relationships are like seatbelts. They have to click for you to feel safe. So that's also true in mentoring. The relationship has to click. You need to feel safe. And sometimes there are some topics that people will not approach their supervisor with. So again, it depends. It's about, again, here more on the mentor side to create that space, to engage in that trust. But then there's some chemistry that will either work or not work. And that's just humans.
Thank you so much, Ines, for the very nicely put way of describing the mentorship relationship that can exist. I want to delve a little bit more on these mentorship relationships that are held and ask you in a more practical way, how long should be a mentorship program, how long a mentorship relationship, and this kind of dancing should last. Gaele, can I hear from you, your opinion on this?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, from the practical point of view, at BWise, it's a one-year program, one-year program in general. And it really depends on the relationship between mentee and mentor. Yeah, we set this as a rule that it's the let's say responsibility of the mentee to set the next meeting, and then yeah, they decide to continue. This is something that they need to do, yeah. It's also important that yeah, we check this, and it's better that to have an ending, because yeah, without an ending, yeah, then the program is something like that. Okay, what we can do next from also the mentor point of view and also the mentee, but yeah, there's no reason that they cannot stay in touch if they want to.
Thank you so much, Riley. Ekaterina, any thoughts on this?
I totally agree with Rahel. It's for sure very important to set the duration of the program. We in Düsseldorf have different experience with the duration of mentoring programs. We do it for 12 months as well for 1 year, but much better we have a much better experience with the 18 months, so 1.5 years. So you should understand university is a huge institution, and the higher the career goes, you should understand mentoring program is something on top. It is something additional. We want to be assured that our mentees have enough time. That is why I would prefer personally, I would vote for 1.5 years for a mentoring program. But totally agree with this position that if the mentoring is successful, if the relations are wonderful, interpersonal relations, so that they can go on the whole life. And we have such very successful tandems in the history of our mentoring programs. But for us, for mentoring coordinators, it is very, very important to set the duration and to say, so here the official program ends, and it is only up to you. If you want to keep your relation, then it will be informal mentoring, not formal anymore, and we will not be in charge of this relation anymore as program coordinators. It is important to understand.
Thank you so much, Katerina, and thank you everybody for participating in answering all these questions. Luckily, we have also some questions coming from the chat that I wanted to share with you and that we can answer jointly. I'm going to ask the question, and then if somebody wants to go ahead and answer it, you're more than welcome to do it. So we have Jana Nova, who asked in the Q&A. I see that already Ines had already a comment, but if somebody wants to jump on this as well. She asks, usually mentoring schemes are financially supported from project money, and what is your experience with maintaining mentoring programs without extra financial support? What are the motivations, especially for the mentors, to continue with the mentorship programs in this case? If anyone wants to answer this, please go ahead.
Well, I can say what I said, but which is we have institutional support from the university. So the university has put some financial support. I still think there's a lot that can be done with very limited financial support if there's will. So if there's personal resources, if there are people within an institution that want to move things forward. The financial support, on our experience, is not for the mentors. The mentors are not asking for financial support at all. We do not recompensate mentors on financial support. Financial support helps with catering events that we bring people together, helps with bringing trainers for workshops that we do alongside with the mentors. So that's for us what the financial support is about. And of course, I have to say my position, which is also kind of financial support, most of what I do is the mentorings. But again, this is from the institution. I do other things for the institution. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yes, I think it does. I wanted to also hear some opinion from Annelies. I see that your mic is off. I wanted to ask from the perspective of WeWise, since on the presentation on the WeWise you mentioned about how you started only doing mentorship programs, and delve a little bit more on the motivation.
Yeah, I think that maybe it's going to be a bit harsh, but I think if financial motivation is the motivation to be a mentor, then it's not the right motivation. I think most of it comes from intrinsic motivation. We ask interested mentors and mentees to write a short motivational letter, and you can really see that most of the mentors indicate, for example, that they have a feeling that they would have liked to have such a mentor when they were younger, or that they have struggled so much with finding the right career or finding examples, and that they want to avoid that young people make the same or struggle the same way as they did. And I think that's the main thing we're going for, is intrinsic motivation to help or to mentor. Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Annelies. Very, very well put. Jana Nova also has another follow-up questions asking about the extent of the agenda between the mentors and mentees led by the research comp. So the European Competence Framework for researchers. Do you have any experience in this sense?
Well, I think it depends on the mentoring program, right? So we have one of our programs is very much focused on career development. And so to that, we discuss skills and we use different tools for supporting individual development plans. The competence, the tool of the European Union can, of course, help in this because it can help researchers identify their skills and also bring those to the mentors and say, okay, I should maybe develop this. So it can be a framework that helps structured conversations like any other thing. For mentors, mentoring, I think, is there as a skill that more senior researchers can do as a skill, but I think it's just a framework as any other. So you don't need it, but it can be helpful depending on the focus of the program. I think for students and younger researchers, maybe it's not so useful because it's a bit complicated.
Yes, of course. And we have a last question coming from the chat, more about who can be a mentor, like picking up on that. So Katia asks, do you think that a mentor can be also a person not from the STEAM area, from STEAM domains, someone with LLP skills or social skills and knowledge of personal growth? If somebody wants to answer, the floor is yours.
Yes, yeah, I would say yes, because, for example, at BWise, we actually match the mentor and mentee without looking at their background. And then it's about, it's about soft skills as well. So it's not only about the STEAM and then promotion of that part. It's also about the softest skill. It's about work-life balance, for example, or such a thing like this. And yeah, that's what I think.
I totally agree. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. If I can just add to that, I think it's important that, I think in their motivational letter, the mentee will also specify what they're looking for. If they're, of course, looking for really a position in academia, then we will not match them to this person. But indeed, if it's more like, where do I go? What are the options? How can I find my career path? Then this is a very good option, I guess. Sorry for the interruption.
No, it's fine. I totally agree. And I said already, I think everybody can be a mentor. It depends on the context. For example, I'm a mentor in a program called Mothers in Science. There it's all about motherhood. So it really depends on what it is. We also match people across fields. Now, I wanted to mention one thing, which is you can cast a wide variety of mentors. There's actually a nice paper, I think, on Science about that. So depending on what you want, you can look for a mentor who helps you dealing with parenthood, or a mentor who helps you go to academia. There's also mentoring programs to support people who are moving countries and to understand a bit what is the culture of the new country. So it depends on what the learning objective is. And I keep coming back to learning because for me, this is what it's about.
Thank you so much for all your contributions. Thank you so much for the answers, and big thanks to Caterina, Ines, Gael, Anita, and Annelies for participating today and being such a good speakers to participate here with us. I wanted to thank you all for coming here and just give you some to thank you about this, and I'll show you just a minute to give you the thanks from in behalf of the Streaming Consortium for joining in this webinar, and give you the opportunity to continue this conversation in our National Inspiration Hub. So this is the QR that will lead you to a form that you need to fill out. It's very quick, and after that we will send you an invitation to the National Inspiration Hub, the online platform hosted by us, Relab Brussels, and the Streaming Consortium for Belgium and the European Union in general, to have this kind of networking going on that has been mentioned as well as a key part of these mentoring programs as well, and to everybody is invited to participate in this platform, and it is a moment also to a platform to continue, not only continue the conversation, but follow up on our following activities. We host webinar every first Thursday of each month, all according to gender responsive measures for gender equality in STEM careers. And we invite you all to participate and contribute to all the conversations that we are building in the future. Yes, Annelies?
I think, or for me, the QR code is not working. I'm not sure if anybody else.
If it's not working for you, my colleague Monica is also sharing the link in the chat. So in case it's not working for you, you can join through that, and I will send a follow-up email with all the information too, so they can join as well. So thank you very much for everybody to join. I hope that you had a very delightful session. We surely did. And we hope to see you in the coming webinars hosted by this Coffee and STEAM series of Relab Brussels and the Belgian National Inspiration Hub of the Streaming Project. Thank you very much to everybody and hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Christina, for organizing.
Thank you for the hosting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.